Hello everyone, my name is Jenna, but you guys can call me Jenna. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Hi, hello. Welcome to the first haul of 2024. I had very much intended to do a haul in the first quarter of the year, but here we are in May. How many books have I bought this year? Over 70 books to go through. I think I've got them all. I just spent 45 minutes pulling books off my shelves. There is literally no rhyme or reason to this anymore. I was trying to pack them in some kind of an order so that I could be like, I got this all at the same time. That is not gonna happen at this point. We're just gonna go through this until I shrink the piles in front of me. Welcome to the haul. It's outrageous, and I hope you have fun watching me go through 70 some odd books. I think that's as straight as we're gonna get this frame as of right now. Also, I am so sorry if you can hear any noise or rumbling or hail because we are currently experiencing a thunderstorm. Enjoy the background ambiance of thunder. Incredible. Anyways, first up, Lord of the Wilds by Annalise Brana. When I read this, I enjoyed it. I think I rated it too highly and have since dropped it to a 3.5, I believe. I fucking couldn't tell you. I enjoyed it. It was fine, but the further away that I got from it, the less I like it, and the more I'm I don't remember much about it. Kind of forgettable. It's fine. Should I put them back on the shelves as I go? That would be a feat and a half if I did, because I had to kind of readjust my shelves because they were so empty after pulling all these books off. Recently, I just picked up my pre-order for The Honey Witch by Sydney J. Shields, which is a new cozy fantasy where a honey witch falls in love, even though she's been cursed to never fall in love. I also have this indie book, Feathers of Dawn by Jess Galaxy, which has the cutest, most beautiful art we love. This is about a dragon knight, a retired dragon knight who gets kidnapped by a dragon and they fall in love. It's soft and sweet, cozy adjacent, I guess. I'm 60 some odd pages through this. Also doesn't have a home on my shelves yet. Also, recently picked up this one. The receipt's still in there. 5 Broken Blades by Mai Corland. The reason why I picked this up, there's 2 reasons. One, because I'm in a Discord community where everyone was getting a audio arc for it. I didn't get the arc. I was not approved by NetGalley, but everyone else who was reading it at all together in this Discord chat, and they were ramping and raving about it. So I was like, okay, put that on my list to get from the library. And then my local indie put a video up of the sprayed edges on their Instagram. So I had to, when I went to go pick up the Honey Witch pre-order, I had to. So this is gorgeous. Also, the end pages are gorgeous. Stunning, but the best part? This is such a fucking beautiful book. This is what people should be doing with every book. Just make them pretty. Because if I'm spending $40 on a hardback, it better be fucking pretty. I also have Relics of Ruin by Erin M. Evans, another pre-order that I'm currently in the middle of, as you can tell by my bookmark. Not in the middle. I am maybe 15% of the way through, not even 100 pages through. This is the sequel to Empire of Exiles, and Empire of Exiles is my favorite book of the year so far. I love it so much. I read it twice in the span of 6 days, so I'm savoring this one. I'm savoring it. We also have this nonfiction, The Anatomy of Story by John Truby, that was recommended to me by Lindsay. If I'm wrong, I will correct myself on the screen. Recommended to me as a story structure, storytelling book to read. I picked it up, and I am somewhat making my way through it. Nonfiction is really hard for me, so it's nice to have every once in a while when I want to kind of just poke at a chapter or something, you know. I also have The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo, which is her latest, I believe, is a standalone historical fantasy novel, but it's again the sprayed edges. They got me. They got me, and look at that. Gorge. I'm excited to dive into this. I've heard mixed things, so I'm excited to see where this goes and what happens. So, love that. Oh, I forgot about this one. We'll just do this one right away. Come here. I have the Fairy Loot version of A Tempest of Tea by Hafsa Faisal. I picked this up off of Facebook Marketplace, and I think it's kind of stemmed a love of sprayed edges for me, because look how beautiful. I guess these are technically stenciled edges, but still, gorge. And again, end pages, gorgeous. And the book itself is so beautiful. I barely want to hide it in its dust jacket, but alas, that's where it's been. I have not yet read this. It is on my TBR. It's been pitched as Arthurian legend meets Peaky Blinders, which we love. I also picked up Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Lands by Heather Fawcett. I ended up reading this earlier this year through my library. Loved it so much. and needed to add the hardcover to my shelves to match Encyclopedia of Fairies that I have on my shelves already right there. So love, highly recommend. Loved the second one even more than the first. We have this used book that I picked up from a thrift store. It's Who Fears Death by Nyede Okorafor. It's a dystopian African fantasy. That's all I know about it. And I've read a couple Nyede Okorafors. One was fine, one was a miss. So we'll see how this one goes. What Feast the Night by T. Kingfisher. There's more T. Kingfishers in this pile. Right here. Okay. I got this. This was a pre-order of the year because I really wanted to get the hardcover to match the What Moves the Dead, because I knew I was going to get my hands on it at some point. And I ended up buying this as well. And also Sword Heart. And I've read What Moves the Dead and Sword Heart before. Both 5-star reads for me. Absolutely adored and loved. So I just needed to continue expanding my TA mystery collection. So I'm excited to get to this novella sequel. I'm excited because I really loved What Moves the Dead. We love fungal horror, and we love retellings of The Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe. My literary human heart is thriving. Then we have a cozy fantasy, which I have read. It's Practical Potions and Premeditated Murder by Ren Jones. I give this about 3.5 stars. I think it was cute and fun and nice, but I have some issues and I wish some things did things better. Namely, like, I just didn't feel connected to any characters other than our main character, and we didn't really get enough about the murderer in this. Really makes sense. And it didn't feel like a community of people, just little things. It was fine. It was fun, and the cover is really cute. So, of course. I've also picked up these two N.K. Jemisin books, which are book 2 and 3 of the Inheritance trilogy, because I absolutely loved book 1, which is The 100,000 Kingdoms, which was her debut novel. So I had to pick up book 2 and 3 because I just love N.K. Jemisin so fucking much, and I have yet to read them, even though they've been on my TBR for everything. So soon, my friends, soon. I also picked up Painted Devils by Margaret Owen, which is the sequel to Little Thieves, and from the same author of Merciful Crow and the Faithless Hawk, just to look up. And I've loved every book that I have read from her, so I had to get the sequel. I just had to, because it was hardcover, and I think this is from Book Outlet, because it's got like a dot on the bottom, so it was like $7, which is the best, especially for hardcovers. I also ended up picking up How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kwong from the signing that I went to with my friends at my local indie bookstore. This is signed to me, signed and personalized to me, to moi, which is so fun. So love that. Have yet to read it, but it's our book club pick for this month, so I will be reading it very soon. I also got an ARC from Simon & Schuster and Saga Press, Mirrored Heavens by Rebecca Roanhorse, which is book 3 in the Between the Earth and Sky trilogy, which is the Black Sun and Fever Star trilogy, which I'm going to be rereading book 1 and 2, or rereading book 1 and then reading book 2. Actually, book 2 is in this pile as well, because I picked this up right at the beginning of the year. Fevered Star. So I have the hardcover for Fevered Star because I knew I've also pre-ordered Mirrored Heavens, so when that comes out in June, I do believe, I will have a matching set. So love that, but I have the ARC, which I'm just so flabbergasted by, and I'm so excited to reread Black Sun, read Fevered Star, and Mirrored Heavens all in one go. It's gonna be great. It's a pre-Columbian America's high fantasy. Yeah, that's how I'll explain it. It's been a little while since I've read that one, so I'm due for a reread. I also have The Shadow Cabinet by Juno Dawson, which is book 2 to her trilogy, the Her Majesty's Royal Coven trilogy. I read Her Majesty's Royal Coven, which is book 1, last year for the Trans Rights Readathon, and really enjoyed it. So of course I had to pick up the second one when I could. I don't have the first one, but I have the second one now, so I can read it whenever. I have another cozy fantasy. We got Bakers and Magic, A Fellowship of Bakers and Magic, Adenishire, book 1 by Jay Penner. This has been blowing up a little bit on TikTok because Jay Penner is just a master at marketing, apparently. And I have yet to read it, but it's cute and it's fun. And it's, again, cozy fantasy, so we love. We have Pillar of Ash, which was the first pre-order that I got in this year, because this is one of my most anticipated reads of the year. I have yet to read it because I'm scared. I'm scared, not because I don't think I'm gonna love it, because I know I'm gonna love it, but it's the last one in the Hall of Smoke series, so like, I don't know what I'm gonna do without it. So yes, this is by Hannah Long, one of my favorite fantasy authors of all time. Hall of Smoke is one of my favorite fantasy books of all time. And Dark Water Daughter, which I read last year, was my favorite book of last year, is her first of another series that's coming out this year. The second one's coming out, so at least we're getting more Hannah Long books in the future, but this last one in this world for now, I think. I don't think there's any on the horizon, but I'm excited about it. We'll do this. We'll tackle this one a little bit then. We got Robin Hobb's Fool's Assassin, which is the first of the Fitz and the Fool trilogy, which I don't know what order this trilogy lands in the realm of the Elderlings, but I got it from a Canadian indie bookstore online as part of a package with Where the Dark Stands Still in it. And I think there was one other one, but I don't remember which one it was. And I'm collecting these little mini paperbacks because Robin Hobb is the best. So, love. Ooh, speaking of Robin Hobb, I don't know why this wasn't on my list, but I have the illustrated edition of The Assassin's Apprentice and the other one, The Royal Assassin, which is here on my shelves. I picked both of these up from a girl very near me on Facebook Marketplace. She was selling both of them for like 60 bucks. So I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna come there, I'm gonna get it because they're gorgeous. And I love having The Assassin's Apprentice on my shelves like that. I think it's just so nice. I need the third one now, but I'm in no rush to get it because I don't have room on my shelves at the moment. But yeah, the other one that I picked up was Where the Dark Stands Still by A.B. Poranek, which is just beautiful. And I swear to God, if this book isn't as nice as the cover, I'm gonna riot. Because there was one in here that I bought because of the cover, and it's not as good as the cover. I gave it 1 star, so that gives you any indication. Another pre-order was The Sunlit Man by Brandon Sanderson. This is the 4th and final of his Kickstarter books that were then published by Tor. I now have all 4, which is nice. Will I read this soon? Probably not, because people keep saying that it's like a future Cosmere novel, and I'm scared. I think someone did tell me at one point when I could read it, so I just have to look online to see when people say you can read this one, because I really enjoy Brandon Sanderson's work, especially his smaller books. I think they really do what they set out to do, so love. I also have Colson Whitehead's Harlem Shuffle because I've heard wonderful things about it. This cover is stunning and it's not in my usual genre, so I like to have a little bit of a switcheroo occasionally from the fantasy and sci-fi genre. This is apparently a family saga that masquerades as a crime novel, a hilarious morality play, a social novel about race and power, and ultimately a love letter to Harlem. So I don't know what to expect going into this because I've heard people say that even though it's been pitched as like a mystery novel or a crime novel, it's really not. So I'm just gonna go in expecting literary fiction because I think that's all I can expect at this point. I also got The Hexologist. This was the other one that I picked up with the Robin Hobb and the beautiful Pornicek book or whatever. I don't know how to say your last name. Poranek. I got The Hexologist by Josiah Bancroft. I've never read a Josiah Bancroft, but I do have another of his books on my shelf, Senlin Ascends, that I got previously. And I think this one's gonna be better for me than Senlin Ascends, even though I have Senlin Ascends. I do plan on reading them both anyways, but this apparently has dragons. And you guys know how I feel about dragons, so. I also got another arc from HarperCollins. This is Arthur and Teddy Are Coming Out by Ryan Love. It's apparently fun, kind of coming out story of 2 people in the same family. So I've yet to read it, but I think it's gonna be great for around Pride Month, which is coming up. So also have The Vanished Birds by Simon Jimenez. I didn't realize that Simon Jimenez was the same author as the one who wrote The Spear Cuts Through Water, which I really, really, really enjoy. So of course, when I put 2 and 2 together with the author names, I was like, well, that's coming home with me. And this was a book outlet order as well, because hardbacks are so fucking expensive. So if I can get a hardback for $7, I'm so in. And that's what book outlets deals are usually. Love. Can't wait to read this. Don't know anything about it. I think I've seen a couple people read it and it's more like sci-fi something. So who's to say? I also have Little Fish by Casey Platt, who is a local author to my city. I picked this up originally for book club, but I didn't end up reading it and didn't end up going to that book club meeting. But I do plan on reading this at some point because it's a trans author, which we love, and local author. So, you know, supporting local. And I do want to read this. So apparently it's very hard hitting. So love that. So that's The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz, which I picked up as again, trying to break out of my normal genres, have a couple like palette cleansers, thrillery stuff, and I've heard only good things about this. So can't wait to get into it. I love a good thriller, you know, especially ones that are little that you can just like polish off in one evening. I need to get into more of them, so that's why I have more different genres on my list than I've read previously. We also have The Women Could Fly by Megan Giddings. I picked this up, I believe, 1, because of the cover, 2, because I heard on TikTok someone talking about it and the way they pitched it really intrigued me, and 3, because it was on book outlet and it was cheap. So I'm excited about it. I don't know much about it. All I know is that it says here, it's a piercing social commentary reminiscent of Shirley Jackson and Octavia Butler, from the acclaimed author of Lakewood. And every time I think of Lakewood, the book, I can see the cover in my head. This is about the unbreakable bond between a young woman and her mysterious mother. I'm intrigued, and this cover is just gorgeous, so we'll read at some point. I also have Dragonflight by Anne McCaffrey. This is the first in her Dragon Riders of Pern epics, and I've only heard good things about her Dragon Rider of Pern series. She's another like classic big hitter in the fantasy world. And we love when women are part of that. So that's why I picked this up. So I will dabble in the Dragon Riders of Pern world at some point. I have high hopes because dragons. An epic fantasy. It's my two favorite things. Turning that around, we also have Courting Samira by Amal Awad. This is another book that I picked up at the very, very beginning of the year. I think we're starting to get to those piles right in the middle here of my two like first big purchases where I went a little crazy at my local indie because I had a couple like gift cards and stuff like that. So I bought like 20 books in January. It was crazy. The most amount of books I've ever bought in my life in one go. Courting Samira is a Australian? Yeah, our Amal Awad is an Australian author. And this is a charming and frothy romantic comedy set in Sydney, Australia about a 27-year-old Palestinian woman who is suddenly faced with unexpected choices in life and in love. I think this is going to be great. And for around summer when I'm more in a romance mood, definitely what I'm going to be picking up. I also picked up Squire, which is my favorite graphic novel of all time. I read it through my library originally and then was hell-bent on getting my hands on a copy when I think at the end of last year I was on a book buying ban until the end of the year. So this was 100% one of my first picks off the shelves when I could get my hands on it. So I did, and I'm so happy that I did because this is just such a fabulous graphic novel. I love it so much, and I think a reread is in order very, very soon. I also picked up These Burning Stars by Bethany Jacobs, which is a sci-fi that I have plans to read literally this weekend, so hopefully I can actually get around to it because I have a lot of things that I want to read this weekend. But this is a sci-fi that is richly imagined space opera that has like obsession and manipulation and betrayal in it. I've only heard good things. It's blurbed by two of my favorite, by J.S. Dews and Essa Hansen, both blurbed on the back. So we love to see it, and I have really high hopes. I've heard only good things. So I also have another sci-fi, which is Mary Robinette Kowal's The Spare Man. I picked it up simply because of the dog on the cover, and apparently this is kind of like I don't know. It's a sci-fi mystery, but not like super high octane, and it has a disabled main character, and it's like a glittering high society kind of thing. I think it's gonna be fun and silly and like a cozier read. So, and like not probably one that's gonna be super hard hitting, but I think it's gonna be fun. And this cover is so cool. It like is emulating some of those like older space movies posters in my head. I don't know. We also got Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Pauline. Picked this up from Book Outlet because I was in the middle of reading the Inheritance Cycle, which I still haven't finished the last book. I haven't even started the last book. But I was like, I need everything that Christopher Pauline has ever written, and I think his sci-fi is going to be fun. So I had to get my hands on it, and I did, because $7 at Book Outlet. Also picked up The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett. This was a pre-order of this year, and I am excited about it. I have previously read the Foundry Side trilogy, if you guys remember my video where I did a series video where I reread book one and then finally finished the entire trilogy in one go, and I liked it. It was good enough. And I have not like high hopes for this, but I have hopes for it to be something interesting and compelling, because it's like Sherlock Holmesian fantasy mystery. And I have a thing for fantasy mysteries now that I've just discovered. So love it, I can't wait. This was that YA book I was talking about before, which has a beautiful cover, but I rated 1 star, So Let Them Burn by Camilla Cole. It's got dragons. I had high hopes and I was very disappointed. We also have White Horse by Erica T. Worth, which is an indigenous horror thrillery type book. I love these people on the back. They just have such cool descriptions. Like Silvia Moreno Garcia describes this as, this ghost story is a perfect example of new wave horror that will also satisfy fans of classic Stephen King. We love. Stephen Graham Jones. It's metal to the end, it's Denver to the core, it's native without trying. There's blood, there's ghosts, there's roller coasters, and there's about 1,000 cigarettes smoked. What else can you ask for in a novel? I also have The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington, or Islington, or however you say his name. This was a 5-star. Amazing, I loved it so much. And I loved his book, The Will of the Many, as well, which is what prompted me to pick this one up and read this one in 2 days, over a weekend. Sometimes when I read books a little in unhealthy habits, but it's okay because I fucking loved this book. And I'm currently in the middle of book 2. Still, I know. We also have these 3 books. I didn't pick all 3 of them up at the same time. I can't quite remember when I picked up book 1. It might have been last year, actually. Drinks and Sinkholes. I picked up books 2 and 3. I was going for book 2 and then I saw book 3 was like $10. So I was like, yeah, okay. They're both coming home with me. Cozy Fantasy Mystery Series. They're great. I have not yet read 2 or 3, but book 1 was fantastic. Ate it up in like one evening. Highly recommend. I got a couple nonfictions here. We got Cast by Isabel Wilkerson and also Madly Deeply by Alan Rickman. I have yet to read either of these, but these are like the top 2 nonfictions that are on my list. On my TBR, you guys know how I am with nonfictions. They're not my favorite, but it's good to learn about things sometimes. We also have Build Your House Around My Body by Violet Coopersmith, which I picked up at the beginning of the year because it was one of those books that I just figured it would just change up a little bit of the genres that I'm looking for. It was, along with White Horse, one of the ones that I picked up because it was a similar book to Bad Cree through Storygraph system of similar books. Like, it was a comparison in there. I don't think it's a comparison of like genres. I think it's more of a thematic situation with family being the center of it. So I've yet to read it, but it's on my list. Also have Thomas King's Indians on Vacation, which I picked up at the thrift store at the beginning of the year, and I've read a couple Thomas in my time. Really liked Green Grass Running Water by him, which I studied in university, so I figured I'd pick up his newest or newer. I don't remember when this one came out, but this is like one of the newer ones of his releases. Also picked up Rebecca Ross's A Fire Endless, which is book 2 in the Cadence duology. I think that's what it is. Elements of Cadence duology. I read book 1 earlier this year and really enjoyed it, so I figured I'd pick up book 2 and hopefully get to it before I forget what happens in book 1. So this is on an immediate TBR as well. Also have Penance by Eliza Clark, which I loved and read for book club with my friends. Tabbed it. That's how much I loved it, which I rarely tab books anymore. I just had a great time. I had such a great time. Highly recommend if you're into true crime. Also have one of my first, I don't remember if this is all the books that I got in that video, but I did a video right at the beginning of the year, which was come book shopping with me with my friend Sophia. And I picked up a whole whack ton of books at the beginning of the year. This is part of that like 20 books that I bought situation. Bought Adanya Shibley's Minor Detail, which I have read already previously before picking this up, but I needed to have a copy on my shelves. I have Alat's Way by Darcy Little Badger. This has been on my radar and on my TBR for years. I've just never been able to pick it up because the hardcover was always so expensive. So I picked up the paperback. We have Where Peace is Lost by Valerie Valdez. Have read, gave it like 3.5 stars, was fine. That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon by Kimberly Lemming. Also have read, also gave about 3.5 stars. Was enjoyable and fine. Read The Memory Thieves by Danielle Clayton. Also 3.5 stars. That's a weird trend. Fun little middle grade sequel. Read it recently. And I also have The Dragons of Deepwood Fen by Bradley P. Bollier, which is on my TBR. Have not yet read it, but I'm so excited to because dragons. And also Chain Gang All Stars, which was one of my 5 stars, one of my very first 5 stars of the year. Read it. It's required reading, this one. Recently, I only have a couple more, I think, unless I'm forgetting some. I think this is the last bunch. Yeah. Okay, so I've picked up also The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. This is another one that I got at the thrift store, just because I love these kind of murder books. I don't know why. They're fun, like slightly cozier mysteries. They're great. Richard Osman has a whole series of this. I have yet to read them, but I think I'm gonna have fun with it. So that's all you can expect. And then this last stack is all books that I picked up at a local horror indie bookstore, which I went to for the launch of Dark Flock by Matt Pohl. I helped co-host it. Because it's through the Stygian collection, which I am in the Stygian collection anthology. So they asked me to go in my city to one of the launches, so I did. But this is a little anthology of weird Twilight Zone birding stories, is the best way to describe this. And then I made friends with the bookstore purveyor when I was there, and they got me to pick up a whole bunch of different books. We got Drew Hayden Taylor's Cold, which is an indigenous thrillery horror-y book. Taking tropes from the murder mystery, police procedural, thriller, and horror genres, this book weaves a pulse-pounding narrative with an intricate cast of characters while never losing the ability to make you laugh. So I have high hopes for this one. I think I'm gonna love it because it's indigenous again. Indigenous horror just does something for me. We also have Foe by Ian Reid. I didn't realize this was a movie tie-in cover until I just held it up now. Which it's actually kind of one of the nicer movie tie-in covers. That's kind of nice. This is a taut psychological, philosophical mindbender, not psychological, philosophical mindbender by Ian Reid. And The Haunting of Velkwood by Gwendolyn Keast. I had heard nothing about this. Like, these are all books that are brand new to my brain. I've never heard of them before. And then I saw Kayla from Books and Lala read this recently in her latest vlog of her 5-star vlogs, and she loved it. So I now know what to expect more about going into this one, and I have hopes. It's like a ghost story book just dripping with loss and dread. So we did it, my friends. Oh my God. We went through all the books, I think, that I've hauled this year. Out of all of them, I think I did call out a few that were pre-orders. Let me just double check here. So the first one was Pillar of Ash We also had Lore of the Wilds, What Feasts the Night, The Tainted Cup, The Sunlit Man, and Relic of Ruins, and The Honey Witch, which I have not yet tied off. There's another one coming this month, another like pre-order of mine that I've ordered, which is the Tea Dragons box set of paperback books of that like graphic novel series. I didn't realize that I realized recently that they were coming out with a box set of paperback books, which makes them so much more affordable because graphic novel hardcovers are just so expensive. And so I was like, oh, that's mine. So I can't wait till that comes in. I don't know when that's coming in. That is where we are. Yes, my friends, that is it from me. I hope you enjoyed this video of my giant stack of books that I have added. Do I know how many I've read out of all that I've hauled? I might. Let me check my crop pile spreadsheet. Of all of the books I have acquired, I've read 15 of them. Oh, that makes me so sad. I need to get better at this. Oh God. I don't know, my friends. I need to stop buying books. That's really the game. That is the name of the game, isn't it? Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I will catch you guys in another video very, very, very soon. Stay kind and keep on reading.